Hello, guys. Hello, everyone. We'll be starting in a couple of minutes. Let's wait for a few more people to join in. Today's agenda is writing test format and marking criteria. So, we'll be discussing the writing test format and we'll also be going through the parameters on which your writing is assessed. Hello, Sukhdeep. I'm fine. How are you guys? Good evening. All right, so let's get started with the agenda that we have today. But before that, a little bit about us. So, who are we? What's PrepEve all about? Let's get to know each other a bit more. So, I would like you to drop in your comments on what you are doing and why you're preparing for the IELTS test. So, you can leave your answers in the comment section and basically the chat box, and I'll be telling you who are we and what we technically do. So, yes. This test format is for general training as well as for academics. So, Raj, basically, the writing format or the writing test is more or less similar in both your GT as well as in your academic test. There's just a slight difference in task one. So, we'll be showing you what that difference is. Apart from that, we'll cater to both general training and the academic test. So you don't have to worry, even if you're taking the academic or the general training test, you can continue watching this video because it would be beneficial for both the candidates. All right, so we started training candidates for the IELTS test for about, we have been doing it for about 3 years now, and we have taught over students from over 30 plus countries. So yes, that's how it is. And 30,000 plus students on YouTube. We have helped more than 30,000 students in preparing for the IELTS test and making their job of getting the desired band score easier. So I guess most of you are under those 30,000, and welcome guys, welcome. Thank you for joining in. Okay, so we have students who want to appear for the academic test as well as for the PR process, which is GT, so that's good. All right. Okay. Apart from that, we have taught over 1200 students in our one-to-one courses. And these courses are highly effective as we have an interactive session, it's bi-directional, and we teach on video conferencing platforms such as Zoom, Skype, and the like. And all our trainers have experience of minimum 2 years, and we cater to your needs. We want to showcase how you can score the desired band score within a limited period of time. So that's why the one-on-one courses are something that would be really effective for you. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome, Raj. Okay, so let's move ahead. with the next one. So this was about us, and here are the pictures of all the testimonials that you see. Some of our success stories, we couldn't fit in all of them in this one slide because there are a lot of them, and we didn't want to waste slides with showing you the testimonials of the successful students alone. We wanted you to learn about the writing format and its criteria. So let's get started. Okay, so IELTS GT writing test format. First, we'll be focusing on the writing text format for the general training test. So, all of you who are going to prepare for the GT test, please listen carefully, be very attentive. So, in both the writing tests, be it for GT or for your academic test, there are two tasks which have to be completed in 1 hour. Okay, so task 1 has to be completed in about 20 minutes, and task 2 has to be completed in about 40 minutes, and you get a total of 1 hour to complete your writing test. Yes, dude story, we'll be catering the academic task 1 after we are done with this slide, so be patient, we'll be getting back to it. And the timings of the live classes would be updated regularly. We'll try to have it around this time itself. Let's see your response, how many of you are available around 6 to 7. If most of you are available, we'll have the live classes at this time itself. Otherwise, we might change the timings according to your needs and demands. My level 0 in English. Nobody's level can be 0 in English. You have typed in English, so I'm pretty sure your level is way above English. Way above 0. So you don't have to worry about that. We'll cater to it. Okay, so task 1. What do we have to do in our task 1 in the general training test? So you have to write a letter which could be formal, informal, or semi-formal in nature, depending upon what the question is asking you. So there are 3 types of letters that you can come across in your actual test, and you will have to be writing or attempting those letters in that particular format. So we'll be dealing with those in detail in the future live classes, so that'll be done there. But for now, it's just to inform you that there could be 3 kinds of letters that you can come across: formal, informal, and semi-formal. Alright, the next part is that the task has to be completed in 20 minutes, as I've already mentioned, and the word limit for the task 1 is 150 words. So you'll have to write 150 words in about 20 minutes, and you should not miss out on one single word, or you shouldn't be writing one word lesser than 150 words, because doing so is going to get you penalized. So please be careful about this. This is one of the most silly blunders. So don't make this blunder. Please write at least 150 words. Okay. Next up is task 2. So you have to write an essay in this. So the essay could be a semi-formal or neutral essay, which has to be written in about 250 words in your answer booklet. So here it's 250 words in 40 minutes, and in task 1 it's 150 words in 20 minutes. So you should also be particular about your speed in both writing and also in terms of typing. So is your typing good enough, and also is your writing good enough, handwriting plus the speed of writing. So you should be taking care of all of these things. So yes, this is about the format of GT writing test format. Any questions with regards to the GT writing test format? It's pretty simple, straightforward. So any doubts, any questions? So somebody has asked, how can I do reading better? So reading would be taken care of in the following future live sessions. So you have to be patient. We are starting up with writing because most of you asked us to start with the writing module, and that's the reason we are here with the writing. If you guys want, we can take up reading after we are done with the writing module. Okay, so no questions so far. I don't see any questions related to this. So let's move ahead. Okay, so IELTS academic writing test format. So yet again, there are two tasks here, task 1 and task 2, and the duration of each task is yet again the same, and the word limit is also same. So task 1 has to be completed in 20 minutes, and you have to write about excuse me, you have to write about 150 words in this one. And in task 2 also you have to complete the task in 40 minutes, and the word limit is 250 words. So this is exactly as the GT. What's different is that in the task 1 you have to write a report, which could be based on a bar graph, bar chart, line graph, and a tabular data or pie chart. So there would be some graphical representation, and you would be asked to interpret it and give an overview and tell what you see in those diagrams, give a comparative analysis of the same. So basically writing a report. We'll deal with it in detail later on, but this is what the question would be all about. And then coming to task 2, this is exactly same as the task 2 in your GT test, so I think I should not be repeating myself. Yep, so similarly in this one also you'll be given a question, essay question. You have to answer that essay question in 250 words, and the time limit remains the same. It's 40 minutes, and the entire writing test has to be completed in 1 hour. Hi Bhuvnesh. CDD or PBT, it's personal choice. So, if you are good with your typing speed, if you think that you can type fast and you're comfortable with using a computer or a laptop, then definitely go for the CDT test. But if you think that you do not feel comfortable on a laptop, or typing is slow, then I would suggest you to take the paper based test, provided you have a good handwriting. I'm not saying it's a calligraphy competition, so you don't have to have a beautiful handwriting. All you need is a handwriting that's legible. It should be understandable to the reader. So that's what is required. You should have a handwriting in which the reader can actually read it properly without any struggle. So that is the criteria that should be taken into consideration while picking CDT or PBT. Nothing else is required. There's a slight difference in the listening test, but I guess you all can take care of it. So majorly it has to do with your handwriting skills and also your typing skills. Okay, so reading will be taken care of later on, Manpreet. I've already mentioned that. So, yes, Prabjot and Manpreet will be taking up reading later on. This session is going to be about writing, so let's focus on that. You're welcome, Bhuvnesh. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Yeah, any doubts? Yes, Baljeet will be taking up the reading module later on. Speaking will also come into place later on. Right now we have started with the writing, so let's focus on the writing module. Ask any as many questions as you want to with regards to the writing module, and I'm here to help you out. I am all ears. Managing time is something that would come with practice, so you need to pressurize yourself while you're taking the practice test. So whenever you're practicing at home, initially you can start with more than 1 hour to complete both the tasks. So you can start with say 1 hour 20 minutes. Then after you've done with the like a few practice tests, 3 or 4 practice tests, you can reduce the time to 1 hour 10 minutes. Then after that, reduce it to 1 hour. So this is how you train yourself to write or type faster and get done with your task in time. Baljeet is asking whether there are any changes in writing module. No, Baljeet, there are no changes in the writing module. There were certain changes in the listening module, and those have been discussed. The three and I would say minor changes were that number one, the page number references were removed. Number two, now they do not play any examples in the beginning of the audio, so they straight away start with the actual conversation. And the third one was that instead of sections, they have started using the word parts. So I don't think any of these uh, changes would actually hamper your performance. So you just have to take it easy. And as basically, there are no changes with regards to the writing module. Okay. Idea generation, we'll also be dealing about idea generation, so be with us. We'll be catering to that in the following live videos, live lectures. Is there any kind of... Okay. Yes, Raj, word count is displayed on the screen in your CDT test. So you would get the word limit, I mean the word count, as in when you start typing and you end it. So yes, it'll be available. Okay, so correct format for the approach for GT essays. Yes, what you have written, intro, first para, second para, conclusion. That is how we usually take up the structure of GT essays. In fact, any essay for that matter. And this would be discussed in detail. So you don't have to worry about that. All right. So any other doubts? How to deal with overlength? So I'll tell you this thing. I have had 2 3 students in my one-to-one sessions on Skype. So two of them were doctorates. Okay, so they had doctorates degrees, and they had this issue of writing way too much. When I say way too much, they used to write about 400 to 500 words in their essay, whereas the word limit is just 250. So that's like double the amount. And I would say the reason is because they've written so many theses and so many, tasks at their colleges, that they were in this habit of elaborating every simple thing and creating a background. So the only way of reducing over length is getting feedback from a trained expert who would tell you how you can reduce it without reducing the meaningful content from your essay. So some of the sentences are very repetitive. You're kind of saying you're repeating your own self, which makes no sense. So instead of repeating yourself, you just have to keep your sentences and statements crisp and short. So just answer to the point. Whatever the question is asking, answer only that. Whatever idea you're writing, just state that idea and give one line explanation if needed. So you don't have to beat around the bush. That's not at all necessary. And for that you need a bit of guidance, and that is what we are here for. So yes, you can enroll into our courses. Can we use same words in paragraphs or not? So that's something that we'll be dealing in the lexical resources parameter. You can use the same words, but it should not be uh, too repetitive. Okay, so that's something you should be taking care of. Repeating a word once or twice is still fine, but if you keep repeating it, like one word is being repeated 10 times in your essay, that simply showcases that you do not have enough range of vocabulary and you need to expand your word bank. Is it mandatory to give examples in every BP or not? So that's a good question. Now, even if they've not asked you to give example, it's always better to do so, because number one, it'll give creative angle and it'll add more value to your essay, and number two is that it would help you with the word limit. If you do not write examples in your essay, you will not be able to complete the word limit and you would just end up repeating yourself again. So it's always a good idea to write examples, and it could be from your personal. Okay. All right, so these are the IELTS band descriptors. Now, whenever we are taking any test, it's important that we go through all the parameters on which we'll be assessed. So you wouldn't take any test without knowing how you're being assessed. So it's very important to learn and understand what are these parameters on which the IELTS examiner will assess you. So number one is task achievement. Number two is coherence and cohesion. Number three is lexical resources. And the fourth parameter that we have with us is GRA, that's grammatical range and accuracy. So these are band descriptors from the official IELTS site. So this is what the examiner or the assessor refers to whenever they're assessing your answers. So this is for task 1, and what do they check in your task 1? Let's see the band 9 descriptor, what they say. So task achievement, it says fully satisfies all the requirements of the task, clearly presents a fully developed response. So here in your letter, there are 3 bullet points that are given to you, and you have to cater to each and every bullet point. You have to fully satisfy all the requirements of the task. Basically, talk about each of the 3 bullet points and develop your responses. They should be properly developed and should not be loosely held. So that is what is needed to score a 9 band score in your task achievement parameter. Moving on to coherence and cohesion, you have to use cohesion in such a way that it attracts no attention. Now, what does this mean? This simply means that whenever you're using cohesion, it should be smooth. The transition from one sentence to another or one paragraph to another should be so smooth that it does not attract any unnecessary attention. It should feel flawless. Skillfully manages paragraphing. So you should be skillfully managing how to write your paragraphs, how to move from one paragraph to another. All right, so this is something you should be taking care of. Next up is lexical resources. It says the 9 band descriptor says you use a wide range of vocabulary with very natural and sophisticated control of lexical features. Rare minor errors occurs only as slips. So if you notice here, they say rare minor errors occur only as slips. So even they understand that slips are common and you can fumble in between, or you can maybe write something incorrectly, but that's only rare and minor errors. So human errors are kind of accepted. What needs to be done is that you have to showcase wide range of vocabulary, which is only possible if you do not repeat words, right? Next is GRA, or grammatical range and accuracy. Here you have to use a wide range of structures with full flexibility and accuracy. Now, accuracy is something very important. While you're writing, your grammar should be accurate. And here also they're saying that some rare minor errors occur only as slips. So by mistake, if there is something that's not accurate, that's still fine. It should be minor. It should not be something major with regards to the tenses. So something that's minor is acceptable. Okay, so these were the 9 band descriptors for the task 1, and for the task 2 it's more or less similar, and let's have a look at them as well. The only change is with regards to task response. Now, instead of task achievement, it is task response. Here you have to fully address all parts of the task, which basically means that in your essay, what all different questions are asked in that particular essay, you have to answer to all of them. Presents a fully developed position in answer to the question with relevant, fully extended, and well supported ideas. So you can respond to your task well only when you extend your idea and explain it properly. Now, here I would like to add something very important. Some of the students I have noticed in some of the writings, they kind of leave it on the assumption of the reader that they would be able to understand it, right? They'll write one point and they leave it on the reader that he or she would comprehend and understand the entire meaning of the example or of the idea. But no, that's not how it is done. You should be elaborating your idea properly, you should be explaining it. Don't think that your reader knows everything. Instead, you should think that the reader is uneducated, he or she does not know anything about the topic at hand, and you need to explain it to them with the help of one example. That'll be much better. So this is with regards to your task 2 or your essay. You need to respond to the entire task given to you, and then you have to maintain coherence and cohesion in your essay, along with showcasing wide range of vocabulary in the form of lexical resources, and your grammar should be in place with usage of wide range of structures, sentence, different types of sentences, and rare slips are accepted. So let's move ahead. Okay, some points that we need to note is that all 4 parameters carry equal weightage. So each parameter holds 25% weightage, and you should not be ignoring any one of them. Each one of them is equally important for us to score better. You might ask why. Now, the reason to the why is that even if you score 7 band scores in all the modules except for one, your band score drops to 6.5, the overall band score in your writing. And we know how hard it is to cross the 6.5 band score, right? So to get a 7 band score, you need to get a 7 in all the four parameters, and a drop in any one of the parameters, your overall score drops to 6.5. Now that's something that's scary, right? So we need to give equal attention to all the 4 parameters. Do not just focus on improving your vocabulary, because your writing is not about vocabulary. Some people equate writing tasks to vocabulary. Like, I'll keep improving my vocabulary, I'll use some heavy words, some fancy words, and my answer would automatically fetch 7 band score. That's not it. That is not how it works. There are 3 other parameters that you should be focusing on. Understand your strengths and weaknesses. It is not about remembering a list of words or to mechanically use connectors. Yet again, the same thing. You should not be remembering a list of words to, keep putting heavy words in your essay or mechanically using connectors. So unnecessary usage of connectors, yet again, would bring down your score. It's not how things work in your cohesion and coherence parameter. Do not memorize. Yes, needless to say, you should not be memorize anything, and this also includes that you should not be memorizing templates, or you should not be following templates. You are scored lesser if the examiner finds out that you're memorizing something or that you are using templates. So don't do that. Take care of your handwriting. It should be legible. Yet again, this is not a calligraphy competition, so go ahead with writing neatly, but even if it's not beautiful, it's fine. Task 2 is 66% of the total band weightage, but that does not mean that you can ignore the task 1. So yes, out of the 9 band scores, 6 band scores are devoted for your essay, and the remaining 3 band scores are assigned to your letter. Okay. So never ever you should be focusing on the zero band score. That means you do not attend to anything, does not attempt the task in any way, and writes a totally memorized response. So if they figure out that you're writing some memorized response, you get zero band score. So I hope that's a heads up for you guys. Do not ever try to memorize any of your essays or letters. So yep. All right, so we have achieving task achievement. So how do you increase your task achievement and how do you increase your other parameters? We'll be focusing on that right now, and some technical glitch that we have kind of not changed the tip 3 and 4, so please ignore that. And here, how to get a high score in task achievement, which is a very first parameter. So tip 1 is to clearly state the response of writing the letter or report. So why are you writing the letter? The why has to be clearly stated. So whenever you're writing a letter to someone, you're sending it to someone, you can't keep beating about the bush that okay, this is about this or that. In the very first sentence of your letter, you should make it clear that why you have written the letter. You cannot keep confusing the people or the person who's reading the letter. So in the very first sentence, write that I am writing this letter to inform you or in connection with XYZ reason. So you should clearly state that why you are writing the letter. For example, as you start the letter to complain about something, it should be I am writing this letter to complain about. So in the very first sentence, the reader or the recipient of the letter understands, okay, he's going to complain in the letter. Or if you're appreciating someone, so right in the beginning you say I'm writing this letter to appreciate, and that person is happy, okay, I'm going to get appreciation in the following paragraphs. So it gives a clarity of thought to the reader also, like what's coming up in whole for me. So clearly state the response of the reason of writing the letter. And similarly, in case of your report writing, in the very beginning you should state what are you going to talk about. So if it's a comparison between two pie charts, you say that I'm going to compare the two pie charts which have different genders, let's say between girls and boys. So something like that, you need to be very clear in the beginning what you're going to talk about in the following paragraphs, so that the reader is not confused and he understands whatever you're going to talk about. Okay, tip 2 is address all the bullet points in the question. Yes, this is very important. This is something we also read in our band descriptors, that you should achieve your task response or task achievement, you should be catering to each and every bullet point in your letter. So there are 3 bullet points and you should be focusing on each one of them in different paragraphs. So your bullet 1 becomes paragraph 1, your bullet 2 becomes paragraph 2, bullet 3 paragraph 3. So this is how you would write about each and every bullet point in respective paragraphs. So don't miss out on any single bullet point. That's a must. Cover all the requirements of the task satisfactorily. So this is what has to be done. You need to cater to all the bullet points in respective different paragraphs. I hope I'm clear till here. The third tip is to use accurate tone as per the question. So in the beginning, while I was explaining what task 1 is all about in the general training test, I mentioned that there are 3 kinds of or 3 types of letters. So that were formal, informal and semi-formal. So depending upon the question asked to you, you have to maintain accurate tone as per the question. So if the question is that you have to write a letter to a friend, then you would be continuing the letter or you would be writing the letter in an informal tone. However, if it's something that you have to write to your boss or maybe someone you do not know, some higher authority, then you would be using formal tone. So this is something that you should be taking care of, because if you use incorrect tone, you would be not marked appropriately and your band scores would reduce. So make sure that you use the apt tone. If the question is asking you to write a formal letter, the tone should be formal. You do not write how are you doing in a formal letter. And This instead has to be written in your informal letter. So how are you doing is in informal letter and not in your formal letter. I'm pretty sure most of you are already aware of this. Okay, the last tip for improving your task achievement is to not write a single word below the word limit. I can't stress this enough. You have to, okay, this is again a typo. I'm so sorry. It has to be 150 words and 250 words. So you should not be writing less than 150 words in your task 1 and 250 words in your task 2. Writing just 1 or 2 words lesser than the word limit would be penalized. So even if you write 1 or 2 words lesser than 250 words or 150 words in your task 1, you would be penalized. So make sure that in your task 1 you write more than 150 words, and in your task 2 you write more than 250 words. All right, so what a break. Okay, achieving task response. How to get a high score in task response. Now this is more or less similar to the previous one, but we'll still quickly discuss about this. So respond to all parts of the question. This is similar to the previous one. Here the example is given on the right side of the screen. So let's read it out. Many old buildings protected by law are part of a nation's history. Some people think they should be knocked down and replaced by new ones. How important is it to maintain old buildings? That's the first question. The second question is, should history stand in the way of progress? So we have two questions here, which means there are supposed to be two answers to each one of them. So you have to answer to both the questions, and that is when you would complete the tip 1, which is responding to all parts of the question. So make sure you're addressing what the question is asking you to do. So if you miss out on any one of these questions, that means you're going to get a lesser band score in your task response. So make sure you read the question properly, read the question 3, 4, 5 times till the time you understand it, and then answer to each and every aspect of the question. Yes, so the tip 2 is explain the ideas and develop them. This is yet again very important. This is something we have picked directly from the band descriptors. If you just give one-line statements on how important it is to maintain old buildings and you don't elaborate upon it by giving examples, then it's of no use. So explain the ideas and develop them. Make sure that the ideas are also justified with relevant examples as and when needed. So here, let's say, how important is it to maintain old buildings? We could give the example of Taj Mahal here, right? We could say it is one among the 7 wonders of the world, and it is a heritage site. It tells us about the history, the Mughal Empire, the Mughal period, etc, etc. So this is how you make your idea relevant and you justify it with example. Now if you're supporting that we should maintain old buildings, we're supporting it with the example of Taj Mahal, and we're also saying that it's a part of our rich heritage which tells us about our history. So this is how you have to build up and not just state that yes, it is very important to maintain old buildings. So it should be always relevant. Tip 3 is don't write a single word below the word limit, similar to the previous one. So let's move ahead. In your task 1, you have to write more than 150 words. In your task 2, you have to write more than 250 words. Please ignore the 160 and 260 word. Okay, that's just to be on the safer side that you write more. Okay, moving on to the next parameter, coherence and cohesion. So I see some of you are asking about our courses and what's the fee structure. So we have dropped in our phone number in the chat box, so you can look at you can call on that number, and also we have a website mentioned here, so it's www.prepeve.com. so you can also visit our website for the same and you'll get more information about it. Okay, so tip 1 to increase your band scores in coherence and cohesion is that the sequencing of ideas should be logical. this is something that a lot of people ignore. You need to club together the similar ideas. For example, the question is about advantages and disadvantages. Now, if you write one advantage, then you write one disadvantage, then you again write one advantage and one disadvantage, it simply is haphazard. It's not conveying anything properly. So, what should we do? We should club together the advantages in one paragraph and the disadvantages in the other paragraph. This would give the clarity to the reader that okay, body paragraph 1 consists of advantages and body paragraph 2 consists of disadvantages. So, it would give clarity of thought to the reader when they're going through and they would not get confused. So, it's very important to have similar ideas together and never alternate between or juggle between different or non-similar ideas. So don't do that. Keep similar ideas together. Okay, tip 2, write in a structured manner but do not copy templates. Now, some people think that you can only write in a structured manner if you use templates, but I beg to differ. Using templates do not make your work easier. All it does is it would hinder your natural thought process. You will not be able to think in your natural flow. Your natural flow of thought would break and it would also restrict your creativity, and that's when a lot of people complain about idea generation. Now, if you keep restricting yourself that I have to start the next sentence with however, or I have to start the next sentence with to begin with, then you would obviously be restricting your thought process. You would only be thinking, how do I start the sentence with so and so template? So stop doing that. I'm literally requesting you guys to not follow templates. One is that you would be restricting your thought process. Number two is that you would be penalized for memorizing. So any expert or any trainer would be able to understand that you have memorized a template or you're using a template within seconds. They're so trained. Even in my sessions, without even reading, even having a glance at the passage or the essay, I can simply say that okay, this person has used a template, which is a big no-no. So please stop doing it. You cannot fool the trainers, you cannot fool the examiners. So don't even try to work around or work through shortcuts. So never use shortcuts in this way. Your essay should be well structured in paragraphs. So as somebody mentioned in the comments, that it should have four paragraphs: introduction, body paragraph 1, 2, and then your conclusion, which is our tip 3. So we write 4 paragraphs: introduction, 2 body paragraphs, and a conclusion. Next up is use connectors wisely. So use the connectors when required. So now unnecessary usage of connectors would also not fetch you marks, similar to the case in lexical resources. So unnecessary sprinkling of connectors would do no good. Instead would do more harm if they are inappropriately used. So you have to use your connectors or linking words in an appropriate manner. They should make sense. They should be meaningful. And don't unnecessarily remember a list of connectors. Okay, you should understand their meaning. When do you use however? When do you use moreover? So I'll just give you a quick example. Moreover is used when you're writing something that's similar to the previous point. So you're adding on to something that you've already written. Whereas you would use however when you're starting with the contradictory statement, when you are differing from the previous sentence that you have written. So if you use them interchangeably, even if you think, oh my god, I've used so many connectors in my essay, at this time I'll be scoring a 7-band score. I'm sorry to tell you, it's not about how many connectors you use, it's about how correctly you use your connectors. Okay, so don't unnecessarily use connectors in every sentence unless otherwise it's required. Achieving lexical resources, yet again we have 4 tips. So use a wide range of vocabulary. So you all know what this means. Do not repeat words. Unnecessarily repeating words is when you showcase that you don't have wide range of vocabulary. So in the tip 1, you have to use topic specific vocabulary. Whatever the topic of the question is, think from that perspective and try to use words that are specific to that topic. And also, something that I come across a lot, even when people call to inquire about the courses that we offer, a lot of times students ask this particular question: ma'am, will you be giving us PDF files for vocabulary? So now, since I'm on live, I would tell you this thing that no, we do not provide any PDFs for vocabulary because they are utterly useless. So, everybody who says that PDF files for vocabulary, memorize these 10 words and score 7 band score, memorize these 20 words and score 8 band score in your writing, it's utterly, if I might use the word, bullshit. So, do not get in these misconceptions that if you use plethora, you'll be able to score 8 band score. It's not that way. Okay, so you have to showcase a wide range of vocabulary, and let me tell you, throughout your schooling and your college, let's say on an average we have spent 15 years of our life studying, be it textbooks, novels, or anything, even newspapers. So we have enough words in our word bank, it's just that we don't use them. So, our job as your trainers in the one to one sessions that we offer on Skype is to bring those words that are in your subconscious mind into your conscious mind, into your awareness. Okay, so let's assume you have like 20,000 words in your word bank, but you end up using those monotonous 200 words in your day to day life. We keep on repeating the same words that we already know. So, our duty as trainers is to bring those relevant words back to your awareness, which you have stopped using. So, that is what we would do, and this would not involve unnecessarily memorizing any PDF file. You already have enough words, we'll just bring them back to your consciousness and we'll help you out in using those in your essays as well as in your speaking. Yes, do not repeat words. That is your tip 2. Every word has different synonyms that are easy to recollect as well. So as I've mentioned earlier, we'll help you in recollecting synonyms and words. So most of the times, the words that we would tell you or we would prompt you to remember are the words you already know. So if you remember words that you already know, you will be using them better in your essays in the examination. If you learn new words from your PDF files, chances are, number one, that under stress you will not be able to use them in your real test because you'll be pressurized, those words would not come into your mind. Number two could be that you would misspell those words because those words are new to you. Number three, and this is the most dreadful, is that you could use them in an incorrect context. Do not do it. So learning new words is fine, but using them in exam can risk you in these three situations. You can end up forgetting the word, so there's no point of memorizing words from any PDF file. Number two, even if you remember the word, you might misspell the word because you're trying to use fancy, complicated, long words. So that's the second disadvantage. And the third disadvantage is that you can use it in an incorrect context, and that could change the meaning of the sentence, which we do not want it to happen. So I hope I'm clear here. Please, please, please do not unnecessarily memorize words from any PDF or dictionary for that matter. Instead of that, use synonyms and memorize some synonyms if at all you want to. Next tip is use accurate words as per the tone. So formal, informal, semi-formal in case of your letter, but in case of your essays, it's always formal tone. So you cannot use informal words and it's not allowed. One such example of informal words is kids. So a lot of you use kids instead of children. So do not use kids. We have other synonyms for children and you should be using those. Do not make any spelling errors. This is something that comes under Lexical Resources again. Do not make silly spelling mistakes. If at all you're making any silly spelling mistakes, please proofread your answers so that you can correct them in the end. Tip 4, paraphrase effectively and use collocations appropriately. So paraphrasing is something that's very important. It's something that you would open your essay with. So paraphrasing, yet again, is using your synonyms to paraphrase or to rewrite your essay question in such a way that the meaning remains the same, however you change the wordings. So you rewrite the essay question after understanding it in your own words without tampering the meaning of the question. So the meaning of the question remains the same, you just change the wordings. So make sure you do not borrow words from the question text. You have to change the words by using synonyms. You can also do it by changing the voice or changing the word order. And also use the right collocations while writing the essay. Now, a very common mistake that you guys make with collocations is by using "I am going to give the IELTS test." Now, I've heard this so many times. I've heard this at least a million times on a phone call or even during sessions when the students say, "Ma'am, I have given the test 5 times," or "I'm going to give the test on 3rd March." So this is not how it works. It's not giving the test, it's always taking the test. You're taking the test. Yes, in Hindi it is giving a test. You say that मैं टेस्ट देने जा रहा हूँ या जा रही हूँ, but here it's not that way. So do not translate Hindi to English or English to Hindi exactly as a test. There are certain differences. Okay, so that's it for the lexical resources, and I hope we are clear with this. Wide range of vocabulary without repeating words, using synonyms, no spelling mistakes, paraphrasing effectively, and using collocations appropriately. Last but not the least, we have is GRA. Tip 1 is to use the tenses, punctuations, voices, and comparatives correctly. Now, I'm not going to get into the details of each one of them. I'm sure you have heard of these words before. So do not use them incorrectly. A lot of mistakes had committed with regards to tenses, and I consider them big mistakes. Whereas when it comes to punctuations, they're kind of minor mistakes, but I would still request you to not make these mistakes. So that's your tip 1. Do not make mistakes with the grammatical tools. It makes a difference when you swap full stop with commas. So don't do that. A full stop means the sentence is ending somewhere. A comma means that there's a pause. So we need to be clear about these differences. If you use them interchangeably, the sentence is read in a different way and it's also spoken in a different way. Now, if I have to take a pause, I would use a comma. If I have to stop the sentence and take a breath, then I would use a full stop. So let me just read out one of the sentences in the slide itself so that you understand. So yeah, use simple, compound, as well as complex sentences to showcase variety of sentence structures. So if you notice, after use simple, I took a pause because that was needed, and that's why I've used a comma there. So whenever you have to take a pause, you have to take a breath, you would put a comma. And whenever you are ending a sentence, you have completed one sentence and you have to take a break, then you would put a full stop. Now, tip 2 is to use different types of sentences. Use simple, compound, as well as complex sentences to showcase variety of sentence structures. Simply using simple sentences back to back would showcase that you are not very well versed with the language. You're using shorter sentences and you're not linking them or kind of combining them together when they're interlinked to each other. So that's a mistake a lot of students make. So we should be focusing on that as well, which we would do in the following sessions. The third and the final tip for your GRA is that use variety of complex grammatical structures. Use subordinate clauses that comes under your compound and complex sentences itself. So use that. It is clearly mentioned in the band descriptors that if you use or do not use, in fact, a rare use, or if you do not use subordinate clauses, you can drop to up to a band score level of 4. So let's make sure that we do not make this blunder and we write sentences that are complex in nature, in which a subordinate clause is something basically which is dependent upon another part of the sentence. It does not convey any meaning on its own. So we have to take care of that as well, that we use complex sentences. Okay, so that's about it for today. However, we would still like to talk about our courses. So we offer personalized one-to-one courses which will help you in achieving the band score that you desire. And let me tell you, we make customized courses according to the needs of a student. Each student is different, so each student has different needs and different demands, and we cater to them in accordance with what they require and how many band scores they need. So you don't have to worry about watching boring lectures. As we teach live, it's going to be one to one, and we would have experienced IELTS trainer who would be teaching you at the time of your choice. So we understand that all of you are busy with your hectic schedules and work life, but still we have devised a plan in which you can take the classes at the time of your convenience, and you can book that time slot for yourself throughout the course, and you get the undivided dedicated attention from the trainer for 1 complete hour. Yes, the course lasts for 1 hour, the session is for 1 hour every day, and you can pick up your course according to your needs and demands, and we are here to help you out. So yet again, you can call on the number that's mentioned in the comment section or in the description, and also you can visit our website for the same. Now, what are the features of our courses? Let me just quickly tell you. We offer individual attention. As I've already mentioned, there are just two people. There's 1:1 ratio, one trainer, one student. So you get 1 hour of dedicated attention from an experienced trainer who has an experience of at least 2 years in this field and would be helping you out with everything you need to score your desired band score. Number two is we offer a practical approach. So whatever you see in our YouTube videos, whatever playlist we have made, those are theoretical in nature. Yes, they also provide you with a lot of information, but there is something that's missing. That's the practicality aspect, and that's possible only if we have one-to-one sessions. For that, we would request you to enroll into this course if you want that practical feature added to the YouTube videos. So these two go hand in hand. You watch the YouTube videos, you understand the concepts, you apply those concepts in your one-to-one sessions, and we give you the feedback on what you have applied. So it's not that just YouTube videos are sufficient or just one-to-one sessions are sufficient. Both go hand in hand. Both should be heard, or both your YouTube videos should be watched and your one-to-one sessions should be attended simultaneously, and it would give you the best results if you do that. If you pick out on one of those, then you can reduce your pace of scoring your desired band score. So we give you daily practice exercises, and each session with us is a mock test in itself. So every writing session would be a writing mock test. Every speaking session, we would be taking 2 or 3 speaking mock tests in the same session, same 1 hour session. And similar would be the case for your listening as well as reading. We offer flexibility of timings in our classes that we have already mentioned according to your conveniences and according to your schedule. We offer the timings of your choice. And we have affordable fee structure, which you can have a look at our website, and also you can call us to know more about it. And unbeatable quality. Now, I wouldn't boast about this. You come and have a look with our trainers, you take a demo session with us, and you will be rest assured that the quality is the best that we offer here. So you don't have to worry about the quality at all. It's the best that you can get. So yes, any doubts now? Okay, I'm just going through your chat. Speaking module would be taken care of later on. Right now, I'm just focusing on the writing part. So, Sonia, you'll just have to wait a little longer. Simranjeet is asking how many times can you use the same connector in an essay. So even connectors have synonyms. For example, you can use on the other hand, however, in contrast, on the contrary. Um, these words can be used can be used interchangeably. So you can use these connectors and try to use them as synonyms itself. But if you have exhausted all of them, then you can repeat them once in a while. But I personally feel that there are 4 to 5 synonyms of each connector that you have, so you don't really have to repeat any of them. It's not even required. You can't use so many connectors that you would have to repeat any one of them. So that's a rare situation. That basically means that you're overusing connectors, and that's also something that you should be avoiding. So don't do that. So, which platform is used to take the one-to-one session? It's Skype or Google Duo, or we also use Zoom. So, it depends upon what you're convenient with. Is it required to give opinion first in the essay? If the question is asking you for your opinion, then absolutely yes, that's the answer. You have to give your opinion right in the beginning, and you have to tell what you think. Now, whenever there is a question that's put to you, you have to answer. You have to state your answer right in the beginning. You have to tell what you're thinking right in your introduction. So, yes, you have to give your opinion in the first paragraph of the essay. Okay, and see, for reading, the books that I can refer you are the Cambridge books. So they are the most authentic source according to us, and we would recommend to use them. And let me tell you, if you enroll into a course, we would be sending you them free of cost. I mean, it would be inclusive in the course fee itself. So you get the PDFs of the Cambridge book also. Okay, I'm gonna wind up in the next 5 minutes. So, if you have any doubts, I would request you to quickly ask them as soon as possible. Otherwise, I'll be ending this live. How many words should be written in the introduction? So there are no fixed word limits to write the introduction. You just have to write the 3 sentences. First sentence is your paraphrasing of the question. Second is writing your thesis statement, and third one is your outline sentence. So everyone who's asking about the different types of questions, we'll be dealing with those in detail in the following live sessions. So let's not discuss about all of them right now. Today's doubts should be related with today's session. So if you have any doubts with regards to the parameters that we have discussed, then I would request you to ask just about those parameters. Okay, Shivam is asking, I only want to enroll in listening and speaking. Is it possible? Yes, it's definitely possible. We offer customized courses, so you can pick up 2 or 3 modules depending upon your needs, and we would be taking care of only those modules. Whoever wants to take these classes, I'll just post the number again in the chat. So it's 9877714285. 4. You can call on this number and you'll get all the clarity that you need with regards to how to enroll into the course and what all you'll be getting in the course. All right, that's about it for today. Thank you so much for staying with me and listening to all the parameters and understanding what writing task is all about. So, thank you so much once again. Please like and share this video and also subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much. See you soon.